r/ask Reddit. What rule exists because of you? Not really a rule as much as just a sign. I once got drunk in my favorite pub, slipped in a puddle in the bathroom and took down the sink with me. After it was repaired there was a shiny new no diving sign above the sink. It's good to see a sense of humor on one of these. The owner was awesome in general. I offered to pay for the broken sink, but he insisted that it wasn't my fault because of the puddle and cleared my tab for that visit and my next one. When I was in high school, I lit a girl's hair on fire by accident during our National Honor Society induction ceremony. We had to carry candles for the whole induction, and after 30 minutes I tilted my candle a little too far forward without noticing. I've never felt so embarrassed or guilty, but luckily only a small part of her hair burned. Anyway, my younger sister told me 2 years later that at her ceremony they had to use electric candles because years ago a girl's hair was lit on fire. Oops. Something similar happened at my NHS induction except someone dropped their candle. I have no idea if they used electric candles after that or not. So that's what they're spending the money on instead of healthcare. When I was 16, I was working at McDonald's. We were allowed $10 for lunch. I used my $10 to get just dollar menu stuff, so I feasted like a king. Within a month, I was told that I wasn't allowed to do that and the $10 was changed to a free value meal and a dessert because someone was taking advantage of their lunch credits. Damn dude, I can't believe you would cut into McDonald's razor thin profit margins like that. IDK how they survived TBH. The school I went to from 3rd to 6th grade enacted a no gangs rule because of a club I started. My best friend and I made it up. We called ourselves the Midgets. We walked around with our knees up our shirts and propelled ourselves forward with our hands like apes. There were initiation tests for recruits to get in, such as cross the monkey bars without your legs slipping out of your shirt. Another one was getting your swing moving high and jumping off without your legs slipping out of your shirt. When I ran it with my friend it was pretty harmless and we all just played games and stuff. I learned years later that after I went to middle school the kids who took it over became bullies and would trip people in the halls and were generally ruffians. The principal confiscated the rule book I wrote up with the different tests to rank up and forbade all gang-like activity from the campus. I imagine you getting a school reunion invitation so you catch a flight back to your hometown. But it's nothing like you remember, just a strange, dystopian dream. The Midgets run the entire town out of a massive casino brothel at its center. The police are all on the take and everyone pays their protection. The mayor is just a scared puppet. You've never seen so many boarded up windows and abandoned cars. Everyone ambulates with their hands, their legs tucked fastly under their shirts as a sign of respect and obedience. Doors have been made 3 feet tall by mandate and there are no steps, only ramps. And you're just there like what the duck did I do? They should make a movie called Walking Not So Tall. The high school I attended has a no typewriters rule. At least they did while I was there, and because of me. See, I went to a school that focused on science and technology. I also grew up in a house where both my mother and stepfather were IT professionals. I have always been around computers since I was 7 or so, and in high school I had a laptop I brought to school. That was permitted because we did use computers for a lot. However, being a youth with a laptop, at a school full of fellow nerds who also had laptops, we would often play video games, read Warcraft 3 Tower Defense and Dota maps. When we were supposed to be doing our class walk, I was the worst offender though. One day I was told not to bring my laptop to school again. My instructors figured if they could keep me off my computer, I'd do my work. What they didn't know is that I have a 1960s Remington Quietwriter, which is a hilarious misnomer. Typewriter, briefcase and all. This is the real deal. Old school metal, all mechanical with a cloth tape and everything. It even makes the little ding at the end of the line and everything. So me, being the little shit that I was, said yes, I will do my class walk, but I'll do it on my typewriter. Cue one day of me typing up notes to the tune of taka 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 taka, ding. All throughout the day, my notes looked great, but it annoyed the hell out of the same instructor who told me not to use my laptop. About 3/4 the way through class he told me I can use my laptop as long as I don't use my typewriter. The other instructors agreed that they would rather I dong off on my computer than to distract the entire class. Sometimes I wonder how I graduated HS. Moa Daka. Bring in the typewriter. WAG. Security guards aren't allowed to use the Citizens Bank microwave and Citizens Bank office break room. I made a huge outer led up to that. Gents, I got my dinner from the refrigerator and went to heat it up in the microwave. That's it. They saw it on camera and decided that it was a crime. I had full access to use that room to eat and get candy and soda from the machines. Microwave? Out of the question. Edit. It was grilled chicken, goddamn it. I don't eat fish. Fish sucks. I thought it was gonna be a forgot to put water in the cup of noodles duck up, but damn, that's a dumb ruling. I was waiting for the aluminum foil. A math teacher in my high school uses Khan Academy for homework, and we used to get graded by how much time we spend on Khan Academy per week. The rules changed when I had about 120 hours constantly per week because I just went AFK and they changed it to topics mastered. Time spent was a poor metric to begin with. Some people understand things quickly and won't need to spend too much time, while others will take much longer and even then won't quite understand. I had a school that provided 2 grades for every class, a point score and an effort score. So for example, English class score, A, based on your actual grades, effort, B, based on how much work the teacher thought you were putting into it, which was a crock of bullshit. Since if the teacher felt you weren't putting in a lot of effort, your GPA would suffer, even if you got perfect grades. Once in a while you could get something like maths, score, B effort, so the ultimate strategy was just to ask a lot of questions, even if you knew the answers, so the teacher would think you were putting in a lot of effort. Rule number 1. Your monthly motivational speech to the team at work must contain actual spoken words. Rule number 2. Your monthly motivational speech to the team at work may not contain NSFW pictures. Edit. Rule number 2 was created a couple of months after rule number 1, after my second monthly motivational speech. If the boss puts NSFW pictures in their speech, is it still NSFW? This will be on r/show thoughts. Not me, but due to my sister and my mom, my high school gained in school suspension. My sister was caught skipping school, so they were gonna suspend her. My mom was furious and forced the school to keep her there, cause why would you punish being out of school with being out of school? And thus, ISS was born. That's actually a good idea. I thought that said ISIS was born and was gonna say, hey man, don't blame yourself. My robotics team actually has caused several rule changes. The play ring will have concrete barriers around it for the safety of the competitors and bystanders. All autonomous sumo robots must weigh less than 50 pounds. All autonomous sumos must have a remote start. The original autonomous sumos were 125 pounds. So my high school team over-engineered a 16 horsepower robot that would wreak havoc on the competition. Knowing how fast and dangerous it was, we installed a remote kill switch that was occasionally flaky. Anyway, the original competition had started out with a 16x16 foot ring for the robots, with people standing around at the barrier. Our robot sees everybody's legs and does what it is designed to do, push whatever it sees out of the arena. The next year, we had highway level concrete barriers bordering the sumo rings. The rings also had a second wooden barrier screwed into the floor to separate the 2 sumo rings. Our robot plowed straight off the barrier 3 times one year. The judges ordered us to slow down our robot because it was too good. The next year, they lowered the weight limit to 50 pounds. We constructed a new robot using lighter parts, carbon fiber instead of aluminum, LiPo batteries instead of lead acid, etc. We also lowered the robot to 12 horsepower by lowering the operating voltage. Each match begins as soon as a judge blows a whistle. Upon hearing the whistle, the competitors are supposed to press the start button on the robot and run as fast as possible to get out of the arena. Unfortunately, one of the competitors was a bit slow to get out, and our robot saw him. We managed to stop our robot before it caught up with him. But the next year they required us to have remote start for some reason. I can't wait to see next year's rules. You all want pictures. So have some videos. Here are some videos of the heavyweight before they switched the category for autonomous sumos to lightweight: 2010, 2011, and 2012. It took us a few years to build the new robot, student time and all, so we didn't enter the 50-pound robot until 2015. The current high school team is working on creating the highlights video for this year. I graduated a few years ago, so I technically can't work on this bot. We have submitted a proposal for a college level lightweight, but that will probably take a year or so to assemble. Oh, we have a website here, too. My robotics team was a part of a BattleBots arena in PA. We made them change the list of banned materials 4 times. My favorite robot was basically a circular bulletproof glass ramp that would drive straight at the other bots and make them flip over by driving underneath them. None of the fairly measly weapons allowed by the competition had a hope of scratching the thing, so everyone just had to deal with us flipping them. And this is why wedge type robots are no longer allowed in BattleBots. For the first 3 years of high school I sold brownies in class for 50 cents each. At first because I wasn't old enough to get a job, and then because I didn't want to get a job. I tried to keep it low key so they didn't shut me down. But by the start of my senior year there was a new section in the school handbook that explicitly forbids selling things in class. I sold cigarettes in high school. Found a service station that was willing to sell cigarettes to underage people. Bought a pack of 20 cigarettes for $7. Sold each cigarette for $1. Rinsed and repeated. Made roughly $80 a day for around 4 months before everyone found the service station. I was only 13 at the time. In Australia BTW. I read this several times as $50. Like Jesus, how much weed was in them? No more sending memes to the CEO, CFO, and CTO. Sending memes is how you become the CEO, CFO, or CTO of a company. This company was built on dank memes. Damn it. This one wasn't me alone, but a group effort. In my senior year of high school, 98, our class trip was a cruise to the Bahamas. Before we set sail, we found out that once we left U.S. waters, we were considered full age of majority and were allowed to drink and hit the casinos. Of course, we had it drilled into us that since this was technically a school function, school rules applied, so no drinking, smoking, gambling, Negro please. We went and lost our goddamned minds. Drank ourselves silly on the boat. Drank ourselves sillier once we hit various ports. Gambled, smoked, ducked, the works. A few of us even got video of some of our deeds. Once everyone started getting into it, the chaperones didn't even bother trying to stop us. As a result of our shenanigans, the school banned out of country class trips to avoid any repeats. A few years worth of underclassmen were royally pissed at us. Upvoting for the intentionally obscure racial exclamation. Is it possible that he heard that expression from an uncle or friend and started using it without realizing the meaning? I mean, it doesn't seem likely, but if there's even a 5% chance that this is what happened, I need to know. My high school's freshman students all participate in an egg drop project where everyone has to design a carrier to get an egg to fall unbroken from the top of the 4-story science wing with the carrier not exceeding some preset dimension. We were given one trial before the final due date, and if your first test was successful, you would get an A on the project and not have to participate during the actual project due date. Most students went the route of trying to create some form of padded box to protect the eggs with various packing materials, and some put a fair amount of effort into making parachutes. I put the egg into the middle of a toilet paper tube with cotton balls packed into the top and bottom of the tube, and tied a giant Marshall's shopping bag to the top of it with a couple of pencils of the maximum allowable dimension glued to the handles to keep the bag open, and balled the whole thing up to pass the dimension requirement. Comparing my project to other students, it was immediately apparent that I had put in minimal effort, because of how easy my design was to replicate. Almost everyone whose first attempts failed redesigned theirs similarly to mine, and most worked. After my year there was a ban on parachutes for all future classes. I hate this backward thinking from teachers. Design has discovered the most efficient way to meet the brief, but they ban it, making it not a competition to encourage anything. Except it is encouraging design, since parachutes are already known as the best method to save something that's falling. By allowing parachutes, they would essentially have a best parachute contest instead of a best crash box or whatever you want to call it. It does not make much sense from a real world business perspective, but a lot of sense from a physics class studying collisions perspective. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.